Welcome to the Heads Together podcast. I'm your host, Gill, and thank you so much for joining me again this week. Oh, I got a goodie. I'm excited for this one. I get really excited when I know I've hit on a topic that you are going to be messaging me saying, at last someone has actually addressed this and given me something actionable that I can run with. And I feel like that's what you're going to think when you listen to this one. Because this week I am talking about what to do when you are showing up consistently, like you've been told to do. You're doing all the things and you're still not seeing the clients. You're still not enrolling enough clients. You're not getting enough opportunities to enroll enough clients. Here's what to do. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Heads Together podcast. I'm Gill, and I am obsessed with cutting through the noise when it comes to growing your business. Each week, via intimate coaching conversations and inspirational stories, I share what it really takes to get the results you want in a way that feels right to you. I am all about attracting higher ticket opportunities, building authentic relationships, and creating the abundant, full-fat version of your dream business. I mean, how many of us have beavered away creating a light version of what we really want? The thing is, I honestly believe when you're outstanding at what you do, there is no limit to what you can achieve. So, are you ready to put our heads together and make it happen? Let's go. Okay, so, let me breathe. That was a slightly overexcited intro, wasn't it? Love it. And I dived straight in. Didn't even bother telling you anything about what's going on with me at the moment. And of course, we are in a very, very exciting time. We are enrolling an amazing community of fabulous coaches into the collective. If this is something that you are curious about, it's my brand spanking new membership, all about growing a coaching business. It contains everything you need, the strategy, the resources, the community, the inspiration, the inner work, everything that goes into really building a thriving, profitable coaching business is inside the collective. So before I dive into this episode, head to the show notes and make sure that you're checking that out, because the topic that I'm going to talk about today is an example. It's a great example of the kind of thing that we go deep into inside the collective. The collective is not just a community. It really is an absolute training hub for everything you need to know about how to grow your coaching business. Okay. Let's dive into this episode, what to do when you're showing up consistently and still not getting clients. So if this is really resonating with you, if you are someone who has been showing up, you've been posting, you've been podcasting maybe, you've been emailing, you've been networking, you've been doing all the things you've been told that you need to do to grow your business, and you're still not getting the clients you want, if that's you, then this episode is 100% for you, because you know what? I see you. I was you. You are not flaky. It's not that you're hiding. It's not that you're not doing enough, right? You're doing all the things, but it still feels like tumbleweed. I honestly know how soul destroying that can feel, because it leaves you feeling like, well, Gill, I've done all of those things. I'm doing it. I'm showing up. I'm consistent. I'm bringing myself to the table, and it's not working. What the hell am I supposed to do now? Because you almost feel like you've run out of ideas at that point. You're like, I'm doing all the things. It's still not working. Is it me? Do I need to rethink this? Is it not possible for me to build this coaching practice? So I want to start off with a little bit of an uncomfortable truth, but this is going to change everything for you if you really allow this to sink in and really marinate I really need you to think honestly about this. Showing up is not the same as connecting. This is the fundamental trap that a lot of people who come to me and say, Jill, I'm doing all the things. I've tried everything. I've tried every strategy. I'm doing it, but it doesn't work for me. And this is usually the trap they've fallen into. Showing up is not the same as connecting. Consistency and connection are not just about posting regularly. You can post every single day and still be invisible. You can record a weekly podcast and still be completely forgettable. You can tick all of those boxes, right? And still not move anyone into any kind of action. That is the trap. We think we have a visibility problem, but we don't. We have a resonance problem. Okay? So I have a few questions. I've got 5 questions here that I really want you to ask yourself. Number 1, is your content clear or clever? So this is a biggie. If you're trying to sound really polished or professional or overly witty and humorous, if you're trying to do either of those things at the expense of being understood, we've got a problem, because clarity will beat clever every single time. So that's the first thing I want to ask yourself. Are you trying to be clear or are you trying to be clever? You know how I go on all the time about not using too much coach speak in your marketing. That's a real example of it. Coach speak is that kind of trying to sound polished like a real coach by using some of those holding space kind of phrases. But the thing is, if you want to really connect with your ideal clients, you have to use language they understand and that they would use. Clarity beats clever. Okay? The next question I want you to ask yourself is, are you speaking to someone or are you speaking at everyone? Again, big difference. If I listen or read or watch a piece of your content and I can't tell who it's for, it's probably not for anyone in particular. You need to nail your ideal client and then speak directly to them. Don't just broadcast at everyone. Speak to them. I'm speaking to you right now. I'm speaking to you, the coach who is struggling because they really, really want to attract and enroll the right clients and they think they're doing all the things, but it's not working. I'm speaking to you with this piece of content, this podcast episode. Okay? The third thing I want you to ask yourself, are you being bold or are you just being busy? When you're being bold, you are challenging assumptions. You are offering your insights, your own thought leadership. Maybe you're saying the thing that other people won't say. You're being brave. Or are you just being busy? You're just adding to the noise. You're just making sure you're completing that content planner so that you get your requisite number of posts out per week. Which is it? Because if your content marketing isn't working, then you're probably verging on the just being busy side of it. Again, don't forget, when you're asking yourself these questions, and I would say get a pen and paper, maybe come back to this episode, hit pause, get a pen and paper, come back, replay to when I started asking the questions, and start journaling these and be really, really honest with your answers. The fourth question, are you inviting people to take action, or are you just hoping that people are going to magically DM you or book a call with you or do whatever the next step is that you want them to take? It's really important to have consistent calls to action. You know, people need to be told how to take the next step. I see so many coaches who almost make it hard for someone to work with them because they're spending tons of time creating amazing content, but then the person consuming that content isn't really sure what to do with that. They're not really sure what their next step should be. So I really want you to get consistent around your calls to action. Now, this doesn't mean that every single piece of content you put out there has to have a very specific call to action in it. Doesn't mean that, but it does mean that more often than not, tell the person consuming the content what you want them to do. And don't just do it by default. Think it through. Think about what makes sense for this piece of content. So, for example, if I'm creating a piece of content around a podcast episode that I've just recorded, my call to action is probably going to be listen to the podcast, right? Not every call to action is going to be book a call with me, work with me, join the membership, join the academy, right? It's not always going to be a sales call to action. Sometimes it's just going to be a, hey, I invite you to take one step further along in getting to know me call to action. All right. The fifth question that I want you to ask yourself is, are you focused on brand building or relationship building? And all of the wonderful, wonderful brand people in my world are going to be, Gill, what are you saying? Of course it's about brand building. But I want you, because I'm speaking to you, to think about something. Coaches are by default personal brands. People buy from people. And if you are so focused on building an exquisite, unforgettable brand, sometimes that can detract from the relationship building part of your personal brand. So remember, come back to what we're addressing in this episode. You're doing all the things, you're visible, but you're not getting the clients. Then it could be that you're showcasing your brand beautifully, perfectly, engagingly. But if your content isn't opening doors for conversation, you're missing out. Remember how I always say, if you want to enroll more clients, just have more conversations and make more offers. It's two things you have to do. That's it. Have more conversations, make more offers. The more conversations you have, the more clients you will enroll. Fact. So if you are building a ton of incredible brand building content, but it's not opening the door for conversation with people, your ideal clients, really missing a big chunk of magic right there. Okay? So I'm guessing that some of you are probably wincing a little bit at this point, because I know I do this. It's like if people share something that really calls me out, I'm like, oh God, that's me. I do that. That's okay. This is why I'm recording this episode, right? Because I'm not going to leave it at that. I'm not just going to leave you floundering in this. Yes, I do all those things that are wrong. Now I don't know how to change them. Now we're going to talk about what to do instead. All right. So here's what I really want you to focus on this week. This week, do these 5 things. So it's another 5 questions to ask yourself, and now 5 actions to take this week that's going to really make a difference. So keep going with that pen and paper. Number 1, I want you to go back to the work you've done on your ideal client and revisit their voice. So I want you to reread messages you've had from clients, previous clients or prospective clients who really represent ideal clients for you. Reread their messages. Look at the words they use. Look at notes you've made from calls, right? Let their language, the words they say, guide your content. If you are someone who's been through the Coach and Business Academy, my academy for coaches, then you'll know that we do loads of work around this in the academy. We are obsessed with understanding our ideal clients on a next level basis. And we get very, very clear on the language that our ideal clients uses so that we can talk about the transformation our coaching offers in a way that's going to land with them. So really go back to the voice of your ideal client. What language do they use? How do they express things? How do they talk about their pain points? How do they talk about their desires? Get very clear on those. Number 2, I want you to make the next 3 posts, let's say, that you create, make them start a conversation, right? Don't worry about them being perfect or don't be performative with it, right? Just make it sound like you're grabbing coffee with someone. And yes, I am still using my new coffee machine for anyone who's doubting me, thinking that was a 2-minute wonder. I'm still loving it. Anyway, that's by the by. So you could start a post with, here's what I've been thinking, or this is something I cannot get out of my mind, right? It's something that is conversational that you really would say to someone, right? Experiment with that. Have a little practice. Next 3 posts, that's what you're going to do. Number 3, build relationships. Don't try and tame the algorithm. So in other words, instead of waiting around for the likes and the comments, go and give likes. Go and comment meaningfully on other people's content, right? Send the voice notes, send the videograms. Make yourself a list of 10 people to connect with properly this week. And if to do that you have to sacrifice a couple of posts, so be it. If you're a mum and your time is super precious and you're already thinking to yourself, that's all very well for you to say, Gill, but to be quite honest, I'm at kind of a maximum around what I can do right now, then by all means, sacrifice quantity to do this. Make a list of 10 people and then connect properly with them this week. This is the stuff that moves the needle. This makes a difference. Number 4, you're going to really check that you're opening doorways. So in other words, are you giving a clear next step? And are you putting out a regular invitation to actually work with you? So when I was talking just earlier about calls to action and that not every call to action has to be a sales call to action. Some of them need to be. This is another trap that I see a lot of coaches fall into, and that is that they're very frightened of coming across as too salesy, and therefore they stop selling completely. They don't offer any real opportunity for someone to take them up on their offer. I know that's resonating with some of you. I know some of you are like, yeah, I don't remember the last time I actually said to someone, would you like me to coach you? Well, I think I can help you with that. Here's how you can work with me. So having a strong offer and a clear next step of how someone can take you up on that offer, very important. Make sure you're doing that regularly. And number 5, I want you to tighten your message. So this is something that all of us need to do from time to time, because everyone, and I think I mean it. Do I mean everyone? Yes, I do. I mean everyone needs to revisit their messaging fairly regularly and tighten it up again. It's almost like, when you tie a bow in something and gradually it gets a little bit looser and it sort of slackens off a little bit. If your content is really skimming that surface, if it's a little bit surface level, it's a bit broadcasting to everyone, it's a little bit coachy speak, it's a little bit predictable, right? Then I want you to go deeper. Say the thing that no one else is saying, right? Say it from your heart and say it with some backbone and any other bodily part references that we can think of, right? I do honestly think this is something that all of us, however successful you are, you really need to keep revisiting. And this isn't about rebranding. This isn't about, tearing everything down and starting again. This is just about, okay, hang on. Have I got back in that habit of putting out pretty surface level content again? Am I being generic? Am I starting to sound like other coaches? Am I doing that thing where I've absorbed so much of someone else's content that I'm starting to sound a bit like them, right? And we all do that from time to time. Every now and then you find yourself like using someone else's turn of phrase and thinking, oh shit, that's not really me. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. That's when I want you to come back to who you are. Come back to your edge, your niche, your brand story. Everything about you, your lived and learned experience that's brought you to where you are today as a coach. And let's make sure you're coming back to that deeper messaging that's just 100% authentic you. Okay, I hope this has been helpful, this episode. I do know that this is one that is really needed, called for, asked for. And here's what I want to leave you with. You are not broken. Your coaching isn't the problem, and you don't need to burn it all down, right? But if you've been being what you saw as consistent and it's not converting, then honestly, it really is time to stop sort of tinkering around at that surface level. You're going to have to go deeper. You've got to look at the depth of your messaging, the direction you're putting your energy into, and you've got to look at the bravery in your content, in your marketing. Because just showing up, that is just the beginning. It's the connection, the depth of the connection. It's the clarity, and it's the courage. 3 C's. Connection, clarity, courage. Love it. Those 3 things are what really turn visibility into paying clients. I promise you. And out of all of those 3 things, connection is the number 1. Connection. If you didn't post at all this week, but you decided that you were going to connect more deeply with 10 people who have been on your prospect list for a year, I promise you that will have impact. That will probably move the needle more than your 5 posts on Instagram would. Okay. Listen, if this episode has given you that little nudge that you needed to maybe just rethink this a little bit, then, well, first of all, I'd love you to tell me that. So message me. Definitely message me, info@gillmokes.com. You know I love getting your emails. It's like the most exciting thing to me. Share this episode, please, with someone who needs to hear this. If you have coach friends, and I hope you do, because we all should be in community with other coaches, please share this with your coach friends, because I do think this is a really important message. And if you feel it might be the right move for you, I would love you to join us inside the Collective, which is my membership for outstandingly good coaches who are on a business building journey. I will pop the link to the Collective in the show notes, but you need to go to gillmokes.com/collective and you can find out all of the information there. Doors are currently open for enrollment, and this is the kind of stuff we talk about in there, right? It's the stuff that really matters when it comes to building your business. It's the stuff that really matters when it comes to attracting and enrolling the right clients, which is what building a coaching business is actually all about. Okay. Alrighty. Have a brilliant week, everyone. And I will see you back here next week. Same time, same place. Bye for now. I hope you enjoyed this episode and that getting our heads together this week has filled your mind with what's possible. If you love the show, would you do me a massive favour, please? Would you leave a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts? It would really help me put more heads together, reach more ears and expand more minds. Until next week, bye for now.